Redditors who were told they were gifted or talented growing up, how did things go for you? I became a lazy ass, thinking well I'm gifted so I don't need to put as much effort into things as others. I totally regret it. Never got the social side of things. Currently in a gap year, depressed as fuck over being a burden, so directionless I've already switched majors 3 times in the span of 2 years, and feeling like I'll never get the life I want. I don't want much, but I do want friends and a partner. But for all the random useless shit I do know, I don't have the slightest clue about how to get those. Instead I have the smarts to constantly read up on and understand better than I want to about how fucked the world is. Fucking soul-crushing shit in combination. Ranting because I'm still awake wasting time on Reddit at 9 AM because of this stuff though don't mind me lol. I was consistently at the top of my class and given work from the grade above when I finished mine before everyone. I could play any musical instrument put in front of me and was always given the solos in choir or band. I did it all without studying or practicing very much. The return for doing the bare minimum was all that praise and success. When I got to university, I realized I never learned how to study and I now needed to. I crash-landed and failed multiple classes. Between my laziness and how sheltered I was, I didn't know how to navigate through life anymore. I prioritized the wrong things, truly hated myself as a person when I failed, trusted the wrong people, and didn't realize the toll it was taking on my mental health until it was nearly too late. I sought help, recalibrated, and became a much stronger and less naive person. I eventually got my GPA back up and pursued more than I expected to, and found a career in my area of study. But still to this day, every time abandon a project too quick or give up on a new hobby because I'm not perfect the first time, I'm reminded that I'll always have some leftover effects of being a gifted child. It was all a misunderstanding. I was completely average academically but I was very well behaved. In a class full of loud kids, I was quiet and followed instructions to the letter, and yet I wouldn't get diagnosed with autism until my 20s. This led to a lot of teachers liking me because I rarely caused a fuss in class. So all the praise I got for behavior was taken by my parents as academic praise. I was never super smart. Just quiet and tidy. Been told I was smart/gifted my whole life, pretty sure it's not true. There a lot I can slide through without real effort, but I'm not actually good at anything. I can do a lot of things to a mediocre level and understand basic concepts really easily, but I lose steam quickly as more effort is required. I generally just don't care enough to put real work in. It kinda sucks because I'm capable of coasting on minimum effort, but I also truly hate myself for it because I could probably do/be better. There's also, however, the possibility that I can't do better and I just don't want to know which is true. Despite being told repeatedly that I was gifted and talented while growing up, I decided early on to agree with Calvin and Hobbes. I find my life is a lot easier the lower I keep everyone's expectations. Still, I quietly followed my dreams to become a successful performing musician and instructor. Being labeled as gifted can really fuck your life up. Even besides raised expectations, a lot of things that would be symptoms of mental health issues are just ignored as being quirky. Well, turns out I do have minor ADHD and it wasn't just me being so smart I needed a distraction. Also, labeling a person as superior in a group will always create animosity towards that person. Middle school was hell, and the only thing I really learned was how to lie convincingly, and how to find a person's emotional weak spots. When expectations are so high it's easy to be a disappointment. Was lucky enough to continue to excel through grade school, middle school, and high school with ease. Had one high school teacher tell my parents I was getting the best grades on his tests so I started getting some answers purposely wrong. Another school Spanish teacher didn't believe my grades and accused me of cheating when my answers looked a lot like Mateo's, to which I responded maybe Mateo is cheating off of me. Did decent on the act, but accidentally slept through the SAT. Twice, true story. Was admitted to my state university. Was able to graduate debt-free thanks to 1999 tuition rates, a few $1,000s a year from my mom, a few scholarships, and multiple night and summer jobs. I fell instantly and helplessly in love with a gorgeous stoner at a party one night in fall of my sophomore year of college, 1999. He told me, through a hotbox haze of second-hand smoke, that he intended to go to Harvard Law School. It seemed perfectly reasonable to me, through a hotbox haze of second-hand smoke, that if I was going to marry him I must go to Harvard Medical School. I went home that night and changed my major. Had to take chemistry courses over the summer and ended up needing a 5th year of college to complete my neuroscience and physiology dual majors. I was sadly rejected by Harvard Medical School, but did get into my state university medical school. Sadly, things didn't go as I had planned with the stoner, who never did go to law school but ended up opening some hip coffee shop and married someone way younger and way better looking than me, and they looked very happy together until the young hot wife made her social media private. I did end up marrying a lawyer. After all, we have been together over 10 years. I'm a practicing physician, love my job, still love school and science and math and crossword puzzles, have 3 children, 2 homes, a car with 130,000 miles on it, and an espresso coffee maker. TLDR, basically I ended up like Reese Witherspoon in Legally Blonde but fatter and in the Midwest. Kinda well, all things considered. I was the best student in my primary school and played kinda good music. I went to junior high school and was no longer the smartest person in the room. I was kinda crap in science and math, still a good student. Graduated with 96/100 and got in my first choice, the best music university in my country. That's when things started going downhill. There's a saying in my language, first in the village, second in the city. It seems when you gather all the good musicians in one place, only one can be the best. My pride took a major hit, I lost my major, chose another and lost it again and graduated with 86/100 with no specialization. I had come to terms that I was only just mediocre at what I do. However, that didn't mean I couldn't do good by that. Fast forward 3 years, working semi-stably as a music teacher, have my band which love but doesn't make money and doing my thesis for my master's. I came to terms that talent and intelligence are complicated things, and you kinda work with what you got. I was tested as a genius LQ at 14. By university, I quit my engineering degree to take fine arts. Built a company, closed a company. Now, I earn pretty well writing for tech and cybersecurity. Someone once told me that I would have been more successful if I just stuck to one thing. I've found that the only real way to waste your potential is to use other people's benchmarks. I learned early in life that you have to define your own version of success, even if other people don't understand it. When I was a kid, nearly every adult told me, "Oh, you're so talented. You're so special." My parents forced piano lessons on me when I was 4, and continued to do so throughout my childhood. I'm the oldest of 3 kids. I was never a true child prodigy, but the adults in my life kept insisting that I was. I went through all the motions, but never truly excelled as a young musician. I aged a bit, got music scholarships, majored in music, played/practiced 8 to 10 hours a day on a few instruments, and realized that I'm only an above-average musician, with only limited talent, limited drive, not much discipline at all, and very limited intelligence. Sure, I've been a professional musician for my entire adult life, but that's all I'll know how to do, with nothing to fall back on. I'm not great at music. And never really was. I was just a good bullshitter, with experience. If you can't dazzle M with brilliance, baffle M with bullshit. Eventually, the bullshit comes out of the woodwork, and you're left with your dick in your hands. Now that I'm in my mid-40s, I'll never be able to retire, have a negative net worth, had a 20-year-long hard drug habit, still drink too much, and am basically a loner/hermit with pronounced social anxiety. If you constantly shove "you're so special, you're so talented" into a child's face, you're going to fuck them up. Source: am fucked up. Very fucked up. Nervous breakdown in my mid-late 30s, still picking the pieces up and putting me back together in my 40s, thank fuck I had the wife. Academics remained easy. My mental health remained shit. LVE consistently excelled in school, regardless of what stage of my education I was in. I'm about to finish medical school and it's still fairly easy. Busy, but not too challenging intellectually. My mental health has been a mess my entire life. Between struggling with undiagnosed autism for 17 years, to having severe OCD which first appeared when I was about 4, or life-threatening depressive episodes every few years starting age 9, and being hospitalized for a month with anorexia as a teenager, my life hasn't been fun. It's a wonder all my psychiatrists have managed to keep me alive over the years. I'm currently on 4 psychotropic medications, which keep me somewhat stable, but I've been stable in the past and always seem to deteriorate. Worse still, my deteriorations are unpredictable and seem to escalate with each one being worse than the last. I don't know what the future holds. Given my diagnoses and that many of my conditions are resistant to treatment, my life expectancy probably isn't great. Hopefully advances in psychopharmacology or psychotherapy come along and help. If not, there's a high likelihood that a future deterioration will kill me. It's hard to maintain a positive outlook given the trajectory of my life thus far, but medicine is advancing, so it's possible. I don't think my intelligence is to blame for all, or even most of my mental problems. I have an extremely strong family history of mental illness. That said, given the choice to be mentally more normal, i.e. less intelligent but also more stable, I'd choose that every time. Neurodivergence. Autistic, ADHD. I was really good at reading, writing, and language skills but terrible at almost everything else. Mental illness kicked my ass and I ended up dropping out of high school. Doing better mentally nowadays, but the disappointment of being told over and over I had so much potential just to let everyone down really fucked with my self-esteem. Well, I'm a PhD candidate, so I get paid, not much but enough for one person, to read and write and research things I enjoy. Feel like I'm supposed to have some sob story about why the whole talented and gifted thing was hollow from the get-go, based on the other replies. This is about Ali got, I guess I'm kinda socially awkward there, happy now, Reddit. I used to read a lot. By a lot I mean about 70 books per year. I quickly knew that getting people's expectations lower is the only way out. I didn't tell my achievements at home. They don't even know I was president in high school. Life is easier if everyone has lower expectations. I was told how smart I was all the time. Then when something required a bit of effort or I did not get it right away, I would fall apart, tell myself I'm an idiot and never progressive any further. I was sometimes told I thought you were smart. Now that I am an adult, it turns out have had. But when I was in middle school, that really wasn't a known thing. As for where I am now, I am soaring the heights of mediocre, with a lot of anger and regrets over what I could have been. My son is gifted and has ADHD. I never explicitly say you are so smart, and I praise him not for his grades, but if I know he worked really hard and put in an effort. We also work on different techniques to cope with ADHD. I was never officially labeled gifted in school, but knew I was really smart. I never studied, not in high school, not in college. As a 30-something-year-old, I studied for one test that I needed to take for my teacher's license because I'd been told it was no joke and I crushed it on my first attempt. The lingering effects for me? I have a very hard time being wrong. I am a perfectionist in some things and am very hard on myself when I perceive that LVE failed. Others may tell me it's fine, but that holds no weight if I think I've failed. I'm neurotic about certain things being done a certain way and having to redo them if it's wrong. I also am very persistent. I don't quit on things when they get hard if it's something I want. I don't take no for an answer when I think it's unreasonable. I generally get what I want because Lil keep trying until I get it. RD like to think I'm content in my life. For the most part. I have known geniuses who got hooked on drugs and dropped out of school. I have seen people who are below average work hard and live happy lives. Being gifted and talented is an advantage in life, but it is by no means the only determining factor. Your personality, work ethic, and goals are far more reliable indicators of future success. I was a very gifted singer growing up, and I loved it too, but I have really bad stage fright and hated public performances. I just wanted to sing because it was fun and brought me joy. Problem was that I got trotted out like a show pony constantly by my mom, school, the conservatorium where I trained, charity groups, etc. And when the stage fright got the best of me and my performance wasn't perfect, the people around me were so horribly critical. Eventually I just straight up refused to perform, which in itself brought a lot of criticism, but eventually that faded away and most people forgot LD ever been talented, although my mum is still resentful to this day. Now, I only ever sing in the shower or the car, or at drunken karaoke with my partner, because now it's only about feeling joy.